The Maruti Suzuki Grand Vitara is back. In fact, this name won the tough Raid the Himalaya over multiple years. Now in this video, we are going to find out how the new Grand Vitara is as a compact SUV. But first, let's find out if the new car has the old car's pedigree to wear the Grand Vitara name with pride. To start off with, the Grand Vitara comes with Suzuki's all-grip technology, which basically means it gets all-wheel drive with off-road modes. As a result, it climbs steep slopes easily. Hill descent control makes going down steep inclines a breeze. The suspension also has good amount of travel, which results in good traction. It also has good approach and departure angles and a high 210 mm ground clearance. The all-wheel drive system is also very intelligent, where it manages to find grip even in tricky conditions. Now, even from behind the wheel, doing off-roading feels quite easy thanks to the drive modes and also the visibility that you get from this car. But you should also remember that in terms of outright ability, it doesn't really match up to the original Vitara. And the reason for that, it doesn't get a low-range gearbox. Another one small issue is the engine. The AWD variant comes only with the mild hybrid engine with a manual transmission. And the thing with this engine is that it lacks a bit of low-end torque. As a result, you have to work this engine hard. Otherwise, it also tends to stall. Although the Grand Vitara is not a hardcore off-roader, it will definitely be more capable than its front-wheel drive rivals when the going gets tough. On day 2, let's see how this car fares as a compact SUV. Now, it's a known fact that this and the Hyryder are basically the same underneath. But at least on the outside, where the Hyryder looks more family-oriented, the Grand Vitara, on the other hand, looks more sporty and youthful. Up front, this car does look attractive thanks to the signature 3-element LED DRLs, a sporty front bumper, a large front grille which is finished in premium gloss black, and yes, you also get a lot of chrome over here. Now, do you like it or not? Do let us know in the comment section below. At the rear, the slim LED tail lamps look really attractive, and the chunky bumper does make the car look wider than it actually is. In profile, this car looks almost identical to the Hyryder except for the 17-inch alloy wheels and this panel over here, which is finished in gloss black on the Hyryder. The car itself, in terms of length, is the longest in the segment, and also the strong shoulder line, the squared off lines, does make it look like an SUV. In the hybrid version of the Grand Vitara, you get some visual differences too. You get gloss black finish for the side cladding, dark grey instead of silver for the skid plate, and the roof rails are finished in silver instead of black on the mild hybrid. The first thing that you notice when you sit inside the Grand Vitara is the fact that it feels solid and really well put together. Not only that, even in terms of quality, it is right up there with the very best in the segment. Yes, even now the Astor sets a benchmark as far as quality is concerned because you get soft touch materials even on the dash top in that. But this on its own is not bad at all. All the touch points are covered in soft touch materials. You also get this soft touch panel on the dash, and overall the cabin of the Grand Vitara does feel premium. And if you opt for the hybrid variant of the Grand Vitara, then you also get some premium elements, like you get quilted upholstery for the front seats, you also get champagne gold inserts on the dash and the door panels, and also the faux leather panel on the dash is finished in black instead of maroon. The front seats on the Grand Vitara are large and accommodating even for people with wide frames. You also get good lateral support, which will make this car comfortable even over long journeys. Now, finding a driving position is easy too thanks to loads of adjustment for the seat and the steering. The rear seat of the Grand Vitara too impresses. You get good amount of knee room, good foot room. The under-thigh support is decent as well. The only thing that is lacking over here is enough headroom. So if you're a tall person, you might find it a bit tight for you. The rear seat of this car is practical too. You get 2 cup holders in the center armrest, a seat back pocket, 2 USB chargers, one Type A and one Type C, rear AC vents and decent sized door pockets. But what is not so practical is the boot in the hybrid version. The reason for that is the hybrid's battery pack sits under here, because of which you don't get much in terms of boot height. As a result, even smaller bags can't be stacked vertically. You do get some space over here where you can maybe store an umbrella or some footwear. In terms of features, the Grand Vitara comes well loaded. You get features like automatic climate control, a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which is great to use. It is snappy and has a high-res screen. You get a 360-degree camera. You get a panoramic sunroof. Now, if you opt for the hybrid version of the Grand Vitara, apart from getting phenomenal fuel efficiency, you also get a lot more features. For example, you get a heads-up display, you get ventilated front seats, a full digital driver's display, and a tire pressure monitoring system. In terms of missing features, you don't get a power driver's seat, a premium sound system, and although you get a big panoramic sunroof in this car, the cover for it is quite thin, which lets in a lot of heat in the cabin. Now, with that done, let's see how the new Vitara drives. So let's start off with the engine options. So the Grand Vitara will come with 2, both are petrols. The first one is a mild hybrid, a 1.5-litre 4-cylinder engine making 103 PS of power. The second one is the strong hybrid, which overall with the electric motor and the ICE engine makes 115 PS of power. Now I'm driving the mild hybrid first, which is either mated to a 5-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic gearbox. So this engine and gearbox combo works well in the city. The gear shifts are smooth. The engine also has smooth power delivery. As a result, driving in the city feels relaxing. This engine also has just about enough power if you want to overtake slow-moving traffic. But what this engine lacks is a bit of punch, where overtaking even fast-moving traffic at low speeds has to be planned. And this issue becomes even more apparent at higher speeds, where this engine and gearbox cruises well because of the higher gearing. But again, when it comes to overtaking or gaining momentum, it does take quite a bit of time. Yes, you do get a manual mode in this car, and with the help of paddle shifters, you can shift gears manually. But even then, this engine never feels punchy. Now this is the same engine that you get in the Brezza, and in the Brezza it is enough, but this is a bigger and heavier car and more expensive, and overall it feels a bit underwhelming in the Grand Vitara. Refinement too, it's not its strong point, where over 3000 RPM it does get quite vocal. If you want a Grand Vitara that is peppier to drive, then you should definitely go for the strong hybrid variant. And the reason for that is the electric motor, which gives you instant acceleration, especially at low speeds, because of which overtaking at city speeds is extremely easy. It also feels a lot more refined and smooth as compared to the mild hybrid, and the reason for that, for 60% of the time at low speeds, this powertrain runs in EV mode. The engine comes on only when the battery depletes or when you go harder on the accelerator for a bit more grunt from the engine. As a result, fuel efficiency at low speeds is phenomenal. In fact, today driving at low speeds, this car was returning in excess of 20 kilometers per litre, which is just unbelievable. It cruises well out on the highway too, but when it comes to overtaking, you do have to plan a bit. Now, this powertrain accelerates really well up to around 80 kilometers per hour, but post that, it does struggle a bit, and you know what, this powertrain doesn't feel sporty at all. In fact, when you're driving this car a bit hard, you feel a bit disconnected in the way the engine revs go up and the way the car accelerates. So yeah, this car is not exactly exciting to drive. And this is where rival cars with turbo petrol engines have an edge over this car. When it comes to ride quality, the Grand Vitara impresses you. At low speeds, the suspension feels pliant, it feels refined. Yes, you do get a bit side-to-side motion, especially over rough surfaces, but other than that, there's not much to complain. At higher speeds, this car just comes in its own. It feels rock solid, it feels very stable in a straight line even at higher speeds, and the ride quality too just feels stable. It doesn't get unsettled by bumps, by undulations, and overall as a long distance car, this car will prove to be comfortable. Then talking about sound insulation, there too this car does really well. The only thing to complain about the noise levels in the cabin of this car are the powertrains, both the mild hybrid as well as the strong hybrid. They do become a bit vocal when they are worked hard, and especially with the strong hybrid, because it's a 3-cylinder, you also get a bit more vibrations. In terms of handling, this car is not bad at all. This car turns in really well into corners, it feels agile, and even the steering has just the right amount of weight, because of which you can actually have some fun behind the wheel of this car. But there's a big but, and that's the powertrain again. Because this car doesn't have a powerful engine, it does rob away some of the fun factor from the Grand Vitara. When it comes to price, we expect the Grand Vitara to start below 10 lakh for the base Sigma variant and top out at 17 lakh ex-showroom for the Alpha Mild Hybrid Auto. The hybrid on the other hand comes only in the top 2 variants, with the range expected in between 17.5 to 19 lakh rupees ex-showroom. The new Suzuki Grand Vitara then is not sporty to drive, which is mainly down to the powertrain options. The mild hybrid feels underwhelming, especially for a car at this price. The strong hybrid on the other hand does feel peppy, but lacks the outright punch that you get from turbo petrol rivals. Other than that, there's a lot to like about this car. It feels premium in and out, has a long list of features. The strong hybrid will give you phenomenal fuel efficiency. It feels comfortable for 4 people, it is practical too, and the ride and handling of this car feels very confident. Overall, as a package, the new Suzuki Grand Vitara feels extremely sensible, yet desirable as well.